What would you do if you had the magic power to know when the next big thing in the digital world becomes mainstream, before it becomes mainstream, and you had just enough cash to buy it before it becomes mainstream, but you had to make it a little unethically? Would you do it? So apparently that's what Mark Zuckerberg said yes to once again. I'm talking about the recent scandal, the World War IV. Apparently Facebook bought Anovo, a company that was providing VPN services back in the day, and they had people install Anovo to track all traffic that was going through people's cell phones. They could get access to any kind of sensitive data, including their text messages and photos and all that stuff.
Oh no!
And apparently they used a Anovo project to find out about WhatsApp before it became mainstream, and that's why Facebook allegedly bought it. That makes me think about Snap Stories, because that was around the same time, so perhaps they found out about the Stories feature too when they saw it becoming mainstream, and that's when they tried to buy Snap, but Snap said no, so they decided to go on their own, and they won. But the method, the way, the path to that decision, that's what matters. Apparently it matters to Apple, because now Apple shut their internal apps down because of this violation, because they finally found out that this privacy loophole has been utilized and manipulated and used by Facebook to get access to all kinds of sensitive data on users' phones, but users gave their consent to this. And here's the unethical part about it. Facebook paid people to install third-party thin layer into their phones to get access to that information. At the same time, they utilized a very awkward demographics. They stayed at ranges from 13 to 35, but mostly there were teens, 13 to 15 years old.
Huh?
And those guys agreed to do this for like 15 or 20 bucks, which makes it a little shitty. So the ethical side of the problem is pretty bad, because you're manipulating kids' mentality and you're manipulating kids to, you give them pocket money to get access to their sensitive data. And those kids were like, we give that data to other sources anyway. We don't know what happens to our data, so why not just make 20 bucks off of Facebook? And I'm sure that none of those kids have ever read those terms and conditions that came with every installation of that third-party layer from Facebook. Nevertheless, Facebook has been aware all this time that it's against Apple's policy. It's just a question of, did the Apple know? So why do we care? Why is this big? Reason number one is we now know the game has rules, right? Because we're used to seeing Facebook in line with Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, Walmart as one of those huge companies, the most successful company on earth with the biggest database of people and all that stuff. But it turns out that a device manufacturer can shut it down. And that's something that, never crosses our minds, right? That Facebook is just a digital platform. It's a website, it's a mobile app, but it runs on something. You can't get access to it without having a device in place, right? Apple, it's flexed its muscles and it's shown the world. We don't have to notify Mark Zuckerberg or send him, a special notice, give him some special treatment. No, we just shut him down just like everyone else. It's understandable now that the game has rules, right? That the Apple owns the game because it owns the device. The question is, why did they do it now? Or did they know about this violation before when they were selling massive amounts of iPhones? And now, as we know, they're in trouble because there's no way to innovate anymore with their iPhones. In simple terms, they've maxed out their credit card, right? In terms of innovation, they've maxed out the ability to innovate off of the same platform, the iPhone. There's no more screen available to cut. It's thin enough, it's light enough, maybe it's going to get faster, but it doesn't matter at this point. I mean, I'm keeping my iPhone 7s Plus, and it's, you know, one of the best iPhones out there. Like, it does its job perfectly. I don't need anything better than that. In the light of 5G hitting the market this year, Apple is in trouble because all the big manufacturers from China and Korea, they're going after 5G hard. They're gonna get that 5G stuff here in the States, everywhere in the world before Apple does, because as we know, Apple's platform is not 5G ready. So for the first time in history, they will be left behind, a year behind all other companies. There's one thing, at the time of recording this video, I wasn't aware of all the little details about how 5G is going to be implemented in the States and in the world. And as I'm learning more about 5G, I tend to think that Apple is actually making this move on purpose, deliberately trying to, once again, not release a phone with the latest tech on it because they know something. And this something might be this. 5G is great. Obviously, it's going to change the world. It's going to change everything. But there are a few things that actually make it a risky tech to invest in right now. Hear me out. 4G allows a connectivity that can range up to 10 kilometers. So you can be 10 kilometers away from the transmitter and still get pretty good result, pretty good quality, strong signal. 5G though will only allow 300 meters, which is 300 yards. It's so close, right? You need to be that close to the transmitter. It means that in today's world, if we have the phone in our hand, we can't do much with it because a lot more transmitters will have to be built in order to support this. Plus, the way that 5G operates in, like 40 centimeters, this wave makes the signal go only up to 300 yards, but also it can go through walls. It's really dependent on bad weather. Like if there is rain or snow or something, it will not work. And all those things make me think that maybe Apple is doing this deliberately. Maybe they want other manufacturers to release their 5G phones and everyone's like, yeah, let's buy those 5G phones. But then they will realize that, hold on a second, okay, we have the 5G phone and we can allegedly download 4K movies, which nobody really wants to watch on an iPhone or any Android device because those devices cannot support that kind of quality. And like, you can't really tell the difference, right? That's just a stupid marketing trick. But anyway, you cannot use 5G outside of your home because there are no transmitters. It's going to take years for Verizon, AT&T, and other companies to build those transmitters to support 5G. And once that's done, yeah, it would totally make sense to get a 5G phone. Other than that, the only purpose, the only benefit of having a 5G phone tomorrow would be to maybe use it at home with no walls or something, be able to loft, right? And you have the 5G Wi-Fi router, and you can then watch, I don't know, 400 movies at the same time, all 4K in great quality. If you're if you're a multitasker. But other than that, there is really no good benefit and no good application in today's world. So maybe Apple is doing the smartest thing in today's situation. They're not releasing their 5G platform because they want others to get burned, and then they will do it once the infrastructure is in place. The motives behind the move now are strange, and Apple now has to play this politics game. Moreover, I think, my personal opinion is they did it in order to show people, right, that they are the guardians of privacy, maybe, you know, the guardians of truth, the guardians of what's fair in this world. And they can do this, and they can show you that even the strongest and almighty ones of this world can be shut down by Apple at any moment. I think, you know, there's some populism here based on their fear of selling fewer iPhones this year, which will happen regardless. Nevertheless, they are choosing this path, which is interesting. It means that they are scared of something, and it means that the force will be redistributed. What does it mean to companies like yours? If you dig deeper into this, you will notice this pattern that I'm talking about all the time and I keep repeating myself. If you own no data on your consumers and on your employees, someone else does. And if you don't own your data, you don't own your vertical, you don't own your market. It means that someone else is learning from all the moves that your consumers and your employees are making. And traditionally, those platforms are Facebook and Instagram. Most companies somehow decided that by outsourcing their social activities to Facebook and Instagram, they are getting an advantage of something that's already in the market. What they don't understand, or what has been brought to everyone's attention recently, is that your people are doing something out there related to your business, and you have no idea what that thing is. But you have to know this in order to move, in order to project new things, in order to work on your new visions, in order to implement new things, in order to know what your consumers actually will be buying from you tomorrow, or what your employees are actually doing on a daily basis, what worries them, and how to fix all that stuff. What you instead had to do, obviously, is to have your own ecosystem that would secure your right to your data and to your consumers and to their actions, and you will no longer be outsourcing your people to third-party platforms, which now, as we have learned last week, can be shut down by a third-party company, the device manufacturer. And what if that happens to the entire Facebook for whatever reason, even for 45 minutes? Actually, that happened 2 months ago, I think, or 3 months ago, when Facebook got shut down in certain states for 45 minutes. And everyone was like, oh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to the world? How can people stay connected? Well, it turned out that traffic across all internet actually increased because people that were looking on Facebook for certain things decided to look for those things outside of Facebook now, just Googling them, right? And they found specific blogs and specific websites, very niche and very on point, and they kept using those websites after Facebook got back online. That's pretty amazing. It turns out the valuation, or the value, should I say, of Facebook and social media is a little bit overrated. It is the time, because right now we're gonna see a rise of ecosystems coming from all places, in all shapes and sizes. And all those ecosystems should be smart ecosystems, learning from big data, learning from every consumer action and move and conversation. And whoever is not going to be doing this in the next 5 years will be losing the game. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like it, like it. If you want to leave a comment, better send me a DM. A direct message is always better, because I love exchanging ideas with intelligent people. If you feel like sharing it, that would make my day. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys next time.